Hey, what's up TFC Tribe? It's James from Brisbane here. So in this video, I want to take you through my 4 favorite movements and drills to correct your feet or to reverse the negative effects of modern footwear and our modern lifestyle. So the first exercise, we're going to need one of our cork mobility balls, or you can also use a lacrosse ball or even a tennis ball if you're quite new to this. And you're going to start with that on the ground, like so. And start at just below the base of your pinky toe and your heels on the ground, and you're going to be slowly moving your foot from side to side like this while placing as much of your body weight as you can tolerate into the foot. So at first that might not be very much body weight because it can feel very tender and uncomfortable in the foot to begin with, but this is a good discomfort. If it's the main thing we're looking for is tolerable discomfort. So you don't want to just be standing there and just doing this and that kind of tickles. You want to be getting that sort of deep pressure, deep tissue release kind of feeling, but you don't want to be gritting your teeth and tensing up against it. But the idea is you're moving your foot side to side, and with each one you can go a little bit further down the foot so that you're covering pretty much everywhere from these muscles down to your heel. You don't have to do the heel. And throughout, you'll start to feel areas that are a little bit more tender than others, and you can spend a little bit more time working into those areas and really massaging that tenderness out. So that's the side to side, and then the other way you can go is along the length of the foot, like so. What this is doing is really simulating the deep pressure that we would be getting in a natural environment from rocks and logs and stones and things like that. And our feet do really thrive with that deep pressure, and that's exactly how our muscles get mobile and supple and resilient. So using this ball is a great way to unwind tension in those muscles, but also to prepare them for going barefoot in nature. 2 minutes per foot twice a day is a really good target to aim for when it comes to this exercise. 1 minute of side to side, 1 minute of up and down. Even once a day is a great place to start. You can treat it kind of like brushing your teeth, but for your feet. So the next movement or exercise is going to be your human toe spreader. So if this was like brushing your teeth, this is kind of like flossing your teeth for your feet. So what it looks like is just interlacing your fingers in through your toes as deep as you can into the spaces between your toes. And this is really important because the toes should actually be the widest point of your foot. If you look at a baby's foot, then the toes are always the widest point. And this is what helps give us balance and adaptability when we are navigating an environment barefoot. And the only reason our toes get scrunched and narrow is because we put them in narrow and stiff footwear that sort of casts them or binds them together like that. So if this is very uncomfortable for you, then it's just a sign that they need some more spreading. And this is a great way to do that. It may be as well that you have very, very thick fingers, in which case, you can just go to the tips of your fingers in between. Now, some people don't really like to touch their feet. That may be partly because the feet are smelly. And I will say that smelly feet come from smelly shoes. Shoes are basically the best environment for bacteria to grow. So the less you wear shoes, the less smelly feet you get. But that's just a side note. But if you do have a bit of a thing about touching your feet, then that's exactly why we have our wild toes, and they can basically act as a passive spreading tool that you can just chuck in between your toes like so, and use that as a toe spreading tool after work when you come home, or you can wear these within shoes if you're wearing the right sort of wide shoes. So that's the human toe spreader. Again, about 1 minute or 2 per foot per day is a really great place to start until you feel like you're actually quite comfortable, and that will actually feel like a good a good feeling, a good mobilization within that as well over time. So the next movement is the big toe extension. So big toe extension is this movement here with the toe, and it looks like that from a functional point of view, and that's a very important movement for walking and running. And it gets very stiff. Big toe extension tends to get very stiff because of the modern footwear that we use. So the best way to mobilize that is just to be on your hands and knees like so. Now, one thing you want to look for is that you're not turning out like this. You want to have your heels pretty much parallel, and you want to have your big toes up, and then all you're doing is rocking back onto your heels, and you'll feel that stretch in the big toes as you rock back, and then you rock forward. Feel the stretch, forward, back, forward. Now just go as far as you can tolerate. With this, you don't want to be pushing past a lot of pain, especially sharp pains or anything like that. If it's a bit stiff and achy and uncomfortable, that's okay. Work into that a little bit, but be gentle, listen to your body, and over time this will gradually get better and better. So rocking forward and back. You can try and get some extension in the rest of your toes as well, but the main focus here is the big toes. So that's your rocking. The last movement for this video is going to be arch control. So this is around how much control your brain has over your feet and how well your feet and hips are talking to each other and working together to provide a good arch. So when it comes to the arch of your feet, a lot of people think it's all about the feet, but I'll just show you quickly how your hips control a lot of that. So if you rotate your knees in to face each other and then out to face away from each other, then in, then out, and I want you to take notice of what's happening at your foot arch. So as you turn in, you'll notice that your arches start to flatten into the ground, and as you turn out, you'll notice that your arches start to lift off the ground. So all we're changing here is the rotation of your hip. So internal rotation of the hip, external rotation of the hip. So external rotation of the hip helps to set the position of the arch, and then the intrinsic muscles of the foot can help maintain that arch. So a very simple exercise to work on is making sure your big toes are straight, facing forward. Try to splay your toes as much as possible. Get a little bit of that external rotation force going out, and then you're going to try and grip the ground with your feet. And one thing to watch for is that your toes aren't clawing at the ground, so you don't want to claw up like that, but your toes can flatten into the ground as you grip the ground, and you'll feel these arch muscles really working. Then to make that even more challenging, you can shift your weight over to one side and then bring one leg up and really try and maintain that knee out, and then lift one leg up into a high knee hold, and then down, and you can hold this for 5, 10, 15 seconds. Most people will find that that arch can start to feel quite tight or even crampy fairly quickly. And then once you do feel that, you can change sides again, reset a little bit of that knee out, grip the ground with your foot, lift one leg up. A different movement you can try is rotating all the way around to touch on that side, and then rotate around to the other side. Again, really maintaining that knee position, so you don't want to allow the knee to drop in like that. You want to really be keeping that knee out position as you come around, and that will maintain the position of the arch. So a couple of different movements to try with that arch control. That can be a little bit weird to coordinate at first, but practice, 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 and you'll start to feel that activation. Those are my 4 favorite movements. There's plenty of other things that you can do, but if everyone worked on those 4 movements and drills every day, that would be going a long way to reverse those negative effects of the modern footwear and our modern lifestyles on our feet. So stay tuned for some more videos on how to expand on all of that strength and mobility and awareness. But for now, give those a go. Try and get at least a minute or 2 of each of those each day, and we'll see you in the next videos. Cheers.